Kahala Yahweh. All praise to Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh. Shalom, everybody. What's going on, y'all? This right here is just a response into the Shadow Knights and other panels who are, still spilling madness, still spilling niggery for the most part. They still got this lie about Africa, and it is what it is, man. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get into all this, and we're just gonna draw all these connections, and where this ends up might seem a little odd. So let's go ahead and let's start. So this is going to be Genesis number 4. And we're just going to start at verse number 6. And it says, And Yahweh said to Cain, Why are you annoyed, and why has your countenance fallen? Surely if you improve yourself, you will be forgiven. But if you do not improve yourself, sin rests at the door. Its desire is towards you, yet you can conquer it. Cain spoke with his brother Abel, and it happened when they were in the field that Cain rose up against his brother Abel and killed him. Then Yahweh said to Cain, Where is Abel your brother? And he said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? Then he said, What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries up to me from the ground. Therefore you are cursed more than the ground, which opened wide its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you work the ground, it shall no longer yield its strength to you. You shall be a vagrant and a wanderer on the earth. Cain said to Yahweh, Is my iniquity too great to be borne? Behold, you have banished me this day from the face of the earth. Can I be hidden from your presence? I must become a vagrant and a wanderer on the earth. Whoever meets me will kill me. Yahweh said to him, Therefore, whoever slays Cain before 7 generations has passed, he will be punished. And Yahweh placed a mark upon Cain so that nobody may kill him. And he left the presence, and he settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden. So let's go ahead and let's look at some of this. Let's look at some of this in context before we start going into the evidence. It says, verse number 6, And Yahweh said to Cain, Why are you annoyed? Why has your countenance fallen? So why are you looking different? So clearly you don't look the same. These are going to be some key points I want you to pay attention to. And he says, Therefore you are cursed more than the ground. Countenance is fallen. It's a part of this curse. Cain is turned white right here. And he tells him right here, Surely if you improve yourself, you will be forgiven. So if you stop killing, then you will be able to turn back. And let's see. And then it says, When you work the ground, it shall no longer yield its strength to you. You shall be a vagrant and a wanderer on the earth. So you can no longer deal in the crops because it said he was a tiller of the ground. Let's keep that in mind. So let's look back up here in Genesis 4, and it says, And Lamech said to his wives, Adah and Zillah, Hear my voice, wives of Lamech. Give ear to my speech. Have I slain a man by the wound and a child by my bruise? The point is, Cain's children continue to keep killing people. So they didn't turn back. They're going to be the key. Let's go up here. It says, Cain said to Yahweh, Is my iniquity too great to bear? Behold, you have banished me this day from the face of the earth. The face. If you get banished from the face of the earth, where else can you go? Let's take a look at that. Where else can you go? So I'm going to show you where he went. You see that right there? Them are underground cities that stretch from Scotland to Turkey. Underground cities, 12,000-year-old massive underground tunnels are real. Okay, wait. Let's go back so you don't get lost. Verse 14, behold, you have banished me this day from the face of the earth. Can I be hidden from your presence? Oldest underground city in the world is found in Turkey. Now, who lived here? Before we go into that, oh, you see that? It look like caves, y'all. Underground cities that have cave entrances, cave openings to underground cities. Okay. Wait. Let me see. And this is Genesis 4:17. And Cain knew his wife, and he conceived and bore Enoch, and became a city builder, and named the city after his son Enoch. So Cain built the first cities, right? Massive 12,000-year-old underground cities in Turkey. What they don't tell you about this city is that it stretches into Scotland, to the Caucasus Mountains, and into Africa. So let's keep going. So let's show how Cain's descendants, what happened to them.
And this is the 10th video in this Black History series, 200 Fallen Angels. Canine genetic breeding. Now, Conan, you have an intense hatred for the Holy Quran and its receiver, because the Quran lets the world know that after the curse of Abraham on Canaan, the youth, which were the albino Canaan, Lebanon, and his sister Salha, was struck over the ears so that they could not hear a number of years. It says that you Canaanites stayed in the caves of the Caucasus Mountains for 309 years, after which time one could not distinguish the difference between you and your dogs. Chapter 18, the key. Verse 18 says, if you think that and you would think that the Canaanites were awake, and they were really asleep. And we, Elohim Anunnaki, turned them to the right side and to the left side, confused them. And their dogs are stretching their paws right in front of their threshold, cave, or living in their houses, sleeping in their bed. If you were to take a look at these leprous Canaanites, you would certainly turn and run away from them escaping. And you would certainly become full of fear and the terror from looking at them, the Shahis. Verse 22 is speaking about people who saw the despicable living conditions in the Caucasus Mountains. It says, they shall say there were three, and the fourth of them was their dog for genetic breeding. And they said 5. And the 6th of them was their door for genetic breeding. Guessing about that which is ghaibi, unseen, the gene, and how they, the Caucasians, bred with the door. And they say 7, and the 8th of them was their door for genetic breeding. In Holy Quran 7, 166, the Elohim Anunnaki cursed them, saying, be monkeys, shaggies, regress back to Homo erectus.
Oh, what'd he say? He said, regress back to Homo erectus. Right? So, now let's take a look. So we know that Canaan and the children of Cain mixed with the Canaanites. So let's look into some more evidence. Let me see. Make sure I pull this one all up right. Let me see. All right. Let's see. Just gonna do a little small amount of reading, not a lot. And so, see, the name of this article is Nephilim Giants from the Caucasus Mountains. All right. It says, and there were giants in the earth in those days, Genesis 6:4. Giant mythology is found all over the world, black giants, red-skinned giants, and brown, oriental giants. But this article focuses only specific European mythology, though there are links about others in the end page. Not all giants were bad, that weren't all related to the Nephilim hybrids. Now, I don't buy that. Yes, they were all Nephilim hybrids. It says, during the time of the Roman Empire, there were aboriginal humans and aboriginal giants living in Europe. It says the Roman army, with the help of the hybrid races, slaughtered and displaced all the aboriginals. Abhor the original of Europe, according to the European history. It must be mentioned that until around 18th century, at least 5 wild men tribes, who would be recognized as Bigfoot today, were classified as human and recovered as such. Giant races even recruited them into their ranks according to their records. It says Adam became the father of Cain and Abel. Cain was noted for the murder of his brother Abel. In vampire mythology, it is from Cain that vampires, werewolves, and cannibals originate. It says another round of giants is said to be produced by Japhet. Interesting. By Japhet, of one of Noah's sons. Japhet's 2 elder sons, Gomer and Magog, were used to create 2 giant Nephilim races, which emerged from the Caucasus Mountains. Gog and Magog made a pact with demon entities. In return, were rewarded with the offspring and the descendants who were stronger and given occult knowledge. More won Gog and Magog later. Ancient Bigfoot recognized and classified in tribal groups in the Middle Ages. During the Middle Ages, there were 5 different races of wild men. We're going to go back to this word wild men. Recognized and classified as Hepasi, Diabali, Satari, Hepasi, Hipspani, and Blizzari. Mary Magdalene and Mary of the Bible characters and saints were often depicted naked as hairy giants. Mary was considered as belonging to the Salvertian tribe, something mainstream never talk about, but the evidence is recorded in medieval art and writing to make of it what you will. I'm very open, and the information not mentioned to the attachment either. So let's get one of those. So this is a medieval picture of Mary showing her hairy, right? So let's get that. That's Hyprotrechius. Yeah, I can't. Hyprotrechius. It says this is basically werewolf syndrome scenario that you get all this hair on your body, right? So there's plenty of records of this, so let's just go ahead straight to it. Let's not hesitate. All right. So this is going to be a herder and a shocker to you. This is called a field guide to the Wadosi. And this is a tribe, one of these 5 tribes of these hairy people. And where they found, their origin is where? The Warren Peninsula, Africa. See that? Now, we're all going to start to make a connection about all this here. It says habitat, the forest. The predators were Alexander the Great. So Alexander the Great records this. So let's take a look at some of these depictions. Oh, and all of these people were found in the woods in Africa. What do you see? And you're going to always see them with a weapon. I'm going to show you that's Cain's children. These are the same people that was living underground. And they're hairy and they're furry, and these people are all from Africa. Keep telling y'all, you keep calling yourself an African. They're all furry. They're all furry people. Then you see the non-furry people executing the furry people. And all of these people are the children of Cain. That's exactly who they are. That's the big deception. And I'm going to prove that. But we're going to set that one right there before we go off this. This is Africa, the wild man in the woods in Africa. Or the Beastman. Oh, yes, South Africa. This is in South Africa. So don't tell me y'all didn't have giants and freakish people who lived there. Yes, this footprint is found in South Africa. If you want to find this, all you simply have to do is Google giant footprint South Africa, and it's going to pop up with many of their kinfolks coming back to take a picture of what they kinfolks did there. That's all that be about. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. So we done showed the pictures now, and we showing more of the history, right? So for you super African people, for everybody who's into that super African, let me give you another one of your elders. And let you listen to him tell you that the people who you call Africans today, they invaded that land. They are not originally from there. So let's get that. And this is going to be, you want to look this up, that's ancient Canaanites, Moabites, and Moors. So this is going to be one of your super Africans. And I listened to him admit it.
Years in art, literature, and science. Notice that this source also agrees with Prophet Noble Drew Ali that the Hamites also settled in Africa, which means that they came from...
Whoa, they settled in Africa. He said they what?
Notice that this source also agrees with Prophet Noble Drew Ali that the Hamites also settled in Africa. Last 3,000 years, the world has been mainly indebted for its advancement to the Semitic races. But before this period, the descendants of Ham and science. Notice that this source also agrees with Prophet Noble Drew Ali that the Hamites also settled in Africa, which means that they came.
They settled in Africa. Let's make this clear. Let's deal with that word settled. Can you settle somewhere that you're already there? You settle somewhere that you're going to. So this is one of your super African elders admitting to you they're not from Africa. Keep telling you that's Cain's children was there. And he's telling you, and it's recorded in the Torah as well, Genesis 14, it tells you that we invaded that place and took it over. Now, if you want to claim the invasion and we conquered that land, that's one thing. But stop claiming you African. And this is for you super African dudes. I might do that just one more time just to get under your skin. I want you to listen to your elder. Make it very clear you're not from there. Let's get that.
Notice that this source also agrees with Prophet Noble Drew Ali that the Hamites also settled in Africa, which means
they settled in Africa. I done showed you Bobby Hemmett tell you the same thing. People invaded Africa. And what did the elder Bobby Hemmett say? He said nothing but the Tamil who lived there. And I'm showing you ancient records. The Wadusi are a furry tribe of people who lived in Africa. The African wild man. A lot of people, you're not going to comprehend this. I know you're not. But all the evidence keeps on telling you this. So let's look at some evidence. So we're going to go over here to these Encyclopedia Britannica, and we're going to look at this word. This is a 1700 edition encyclopedia, Tartar and Tartary. It says, a vast country in the northern parts of Asia, bound to Siberia, the north and the west, is called Great Tartary. The Tartars who lie south of Moscow and Siberia and the whole of Africa, even though they tried to be crafty the way they wrote it, Africa, Kartvelia, Dagestan, situated in the northwest of the Caspian Sea. It says, Hamitic Tartars, who lie between Siberia and the Caspian Sea. This says the UCB Tartars, and the Mongols, who lie in the north of Persia and in India and Italy. The whole of Tibet lie northwest in China. So Tartars, right? So it's letting you know. So we're going to show you who Tartars are. So same encyclopedia, different part of the alphabet. So we're going to go to the C section. And we go to the C section. We're going to look up, and you're going to see, we're going to look up this word, Cham. Cham is ham. Just don't get it stupid. This is ham. Or con. A word of much fame, import with the king in English. It is the title of the sovereign princes of Tartary. The Tartars are Hamites. And likewise applied to the principal noblemen of Persia. So, showed you once, 1700 encyclopedia, that Hamites are not what you think. So let's go. Let's look into a little bit of this. So let's go back. Let's go back to Genesis number 4. And the story of Cain and Abel is also showing you a greater story. It's showing you a time when violence was first entering the earth. Okay? Not just a story of these two men, but it's bigger than that. Let's see. And Cain, this is Genesis 4 and verse number 3. And after a period of time, Cain brought an offering to Yahweh of the fruit of the ground as Abel, and he also brought the firstling of his flock and from the choices. And Yahweh turned to Abel, to his offering, but Cain to his offering did not turn. This annoyed Cain exceedingly, and his countenance fell. And Yahweh said to Cain, why are you annoyed? Why is your countenance fell? Surely if you improve yourself, you will be forgiven. Cain spoke. We'll go down to verse number 8. Cain spoke with his brother Abel, and it happened when they were in the field that Cain rose up against his brother and killed him. So these is Cain's actions, right? So let's show you how they show it all the time.
They rose from the dust, became great and mighty, but then they turned our gifts to violence. Rose from the dust, became great and mighty, but then they turned our gifts to violence. Rose from the dust, became great and mighty, but then they turned our gifts
Exactly. And this is exactly the same story that he's telling you of when this violence entered the earth. He said they turned our gifts into violence, but your gifts was weapons and how to make weapons. This is what the fallen taught. So now, let's go somewhere real. So, let's show you who's Cain's tribe. I want you to see. I typed up the Cush Empire, right? Now I'm gonna show you. Watch what it shows you. I want you to see this. Now you see what I typed in, the Cush Empire.
Every year, the world produces some 500 million tons of iron. The history of this metal goes back thousands of years. Several ancient civilizations learned to manufacture iron, including the Hittites, whose empire thrived in what is now Turkey, in
Ooh, what they say? The Hittites. So the first thing they showing me when I typed up the Cush Empire, it's showing you the Hittites. Why is that important, y'all? Why is that important? And they was in Turkey, right? Are you seeing the connection, y'all? Okay. Wait. Excuse me. It's a lock in my handshake. Wait, I'm sorry.
manufacture iron, including the Hittites, the world produces some 500 million tons of iron. The history of this metal goes back thousands of years. Several ancient civilizations learned to manufacture iron.
You see that?
The Hittites, whose empire...
You see that? Those are the same people who had to go underground. Because why? The Torah, what did Torah say? Let's go back. Genesis 4, verse number 13. Cain said to Yahweh, my iniquity is too great to bear. Verse 14, behold, you have banished me this day from the face of the earth. Can I be hidden from your presence? You banished me. You made me live underground. And here go my children. You can look at their faces. Look at their noses. These people don't have no pigmentation. These Cain's children. And they was living underground. And they had entrances that popped out in all those places. It popped out in all those places. See that? The caves. These caves pop out in Africa, the Caucasus Mountains, Turkey, and in Europe. And everywhere you read about these places, you find giants and fallen ones. One more time, y'all. One more time. I want this to sink in.
Every year, the world produces some 500 million tons of iron. The history of this metal goes back thousands of years. Several ancient civilizations learned to manufacture iron, including the Hittites, whose empire thrived in what is now...
Now they finna give you y'all this in reverse. See, this story is given in reverse. See, because I'm finna show you who Cain's people are. And see, Cain's people are actually the ones who set this up for them. They didn't set this up on their own. I'm going to show you who Cain, because it said Cain built the first city. And this will be a mining city, just like it showed you.
Turkey in around 1600 to 1200 BC. Later, the Assyrians used iron weapons during their invasion of Egypt in the 7th century BC. In the 4th century BC, the manufacture and trade of iron led to the rise of another empire, Kush, which became a powerful trading center located near the modern-day border of Egypt and Sudan in northeast Africa. Much of Kush bordered the Sahara, but the city of Meroe, in the southern part of the country, was dotted with trees. The people of Kush used this timber to fire the furnaces they used to produce iron. In addition, Meroe had a rich supply of iron ore, the mineral from which iron is made. Meroe was also located not far from the Red Sea, which gave Kush good access to the major trading centers further south. In addition to iron, the people of Kush traded gold, jewelry, pottery, and ivory. Meroe thrived for nearly 1,000 years. During that time, the Kushites developed an advanced society, adopted some Roman-style architecture, and developed their own written language. The Kush Empire also gave women more political power than did most other ancient empires. In fact, several Kush monarchs were women. But just as iron had an impact on the rise of Kush...
Y'all see it, don't you? Don't you see it? It ain't a fucking tree in sight. It ain't a piece of grass nowhere. Don't you understand? This is what the Kushites did. They destroyed these lands, uprooting every tree, bush, everything to make weapons, right? Who did that? Genesis 4, verse 11. Therefore you are cursed more than the ground, which opened wide its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you work the ground, it shall no longer yield its strength to you. What they do, they make that place a wasteland.
It also had an effect on its fall. Meroe's economy began to suffer during the 4th century AD. One reason for the decline may have been the loss of forests in Nubia, where trees were harvested to fuel the iron industry. The decline may have been the loss of forests in Nubia, where trees were harvested to fuel the iron industry. One reason for the decline may have been the loss of forests in Nubia, where trees were harvested to fuel the iron industry.
Did y'all see that? That place became a wasteland, a desert. You see that? It ain't a tree nowhere in sight, not a piece of grass nowhere. This ain't a desert. It used to be trees here. What did it tell you Cain was gonna do? Now what did it say? I'm sorry, let's go up a little bit. Genesis 4 and 2. And additionally, she bore his brother Abel, and he became a shepherd, and Cain became a tiller of the ground. A tiller of the ground. You know, somebody working this metal, mining for metal, right?
The world produces some 500 million tons of iron. The history of this metal goes back thousands of years. Several ancient civilizations learned to manufacture iron, including...
The children of Cain was taught this by their daddy. Who was their daddy? The same ones who destroyed.
Several Kush monarchs were women.
Since y'all really want to be super African, you really want to get it, yeah. Cain, the ground shall no longer bear strength to you. Everywhere you go and you cut down all the trees, you can't replant nothing. It becomes a desert, a wasteland. These are actions of the Beastman. So yeah, Cain